Good morning and welcome to this brand new day. New dawn, new day, new possibilities, new season, new space, and new life. We welcome you back to day 36 of the series Affirmations That Matter. I am grateful to be here with you again and look forward to us providing support to each other as we travel from the locations where we have failed to the locations where we will not just succeed, but where we will thrive. Affirmation number 36 is, today I am able to learn to love deeply and to receive love freely. The question is, what stops us from loving deeply and to receive love freely? Childhood traumas, hurtful relationships, painful experiences with persons who have been very personal in our lives, intimate in our lives, can stop us from loving deeply and from receiving love freely. We have unresolved issues of mistrust. We have unresolved issues of hurt, issues of grudges. We have unresolved issues of self-assessments, self-love, self-appreciation. We have issues of self-esteem, self-value. We have all of those challenges and more in some cases for some people that will stand in the way of us loving deeply and receiving love freely. The issue of mistrust is significant here because a red flag would be raised whenever it appears that someone is seeking to get into that space. The red flag is raised when someone is seeking to befriend us or to get into that space, that personal space, that space where we believe we should not allow anyone to get into. We feel violated. So loving deeply becomes an issue because of mistrust. Loving deeply, receiving love freely becomes an issue when childhood traumas rise to the surface. Oftentimes, we try to put aside, suppress those childhood traumas. But as we seek to begin relationships, as we seek to live in relationships, those traumas raise their heads and we have to deal with them because they constantly confront us. They confront us in ways that we don't necessarily want to visit them. They ask questions. They force us to consider what we've been through. They challenge us to see others differently. They challenge us to misinterpret what others would like to have in our lives or would love to include in our lives. We have those unresolved issues that stand in the way of us progressing, living meaningful lives. And the result of that is self-sabotaging because we have not learned how to love deeply. We don't trust that there is anything as loving deeply, and we don't trust that there is anything as receiving love freely. In other words, our understanding is loving deeply costs, receiving love comes at a significant cost, and because they both do, there's not going to be an action on my part to do either because it's going to cost me too much. That's where many of us are. And so our day is constantly stressful because we are not sure how to respond to those individuals in our space individuals who may approach our space that may appear to be genuinely loving, or that may express interest in our personal lives, even if it is in an intimate relationship. We have those unresolved issues that stand in the way of how best we can receive or how best we can reciprocate the type of love that is being introduced to us. Affirmation number 36 is: today I am able to learn to love deeply and to receive love freely. How do we learn to love deeply? Number one, we need to embrace the hurtful past that we've had. The past relationships with our parents, siblings, or other individuals in our lives. We need to be able to embrace that past, deal with the existing issues of that past, and develop a strategy, find a workable solution in moving forward so that we can learn to love deeply and to receive love freely. Number two, having embraced the past, it is important to understand there will be triggers moving forward. A trigger can be anything that reminds you of what you've been through. A trigger can be anything that you are sensitive to because of what you've been through. A trigger will be anything that will remind you of what you've been through, that will awaken that consciousness in you without you necessarily wanting to embrace it, or even having embraced it, you don't want to deal with it over and over again. You don't want to have to deal with it. You want to let it go. We will constantly have need to protect ourselves. We will constantly be conscious of the hurts that we've been through. Even when we don't talk about those hurts, we are conscious of those hurts. Even when we seek to suppress them, we know that they are in our past. We may block them off. We may cover them as much as we can, but we are knowledgeable of our past. How do we move into loving deeply? Number one, we embrace those past hurts. Number two, we intentionally move forward in dealing with those self-hurts. Number three, we need to give ourselves permission to experience love. We need to give ourselves permission to experience love. We need to get to the point of accepting our past. We need to get to the point of going through the path of getting well. And we need to understand that we are becoming a better version of ourselves so that we don't get stuck in the past. The gradual progression that we are making would speak to the growth that we wish to experience in our lives. In other words, the gradual progression is going to speak to the growth that we wish to experience. That experience has to be intentional. It needs to be where I don't like what my past was. I don't like how I feel now. I don't like how emotionally toxic I am or I can get. I will need to grow. And so I do something about that. Number 4, not only am I willing to move forward in growing, that will not happen until in the process of growing, I also learn to self-love. Learning to love myself. What we often disregard is the impact of the past on our present life. And as much as we may want to ignore, as much as we may want to move forward, we cannot minimize the impact of the past on the present. What we don't do is to allow the past to dictate the present, but we need to acknowledge the impact of the past on the present. That's the only way of stopping the past from having a throne in the future, from sitting on the throne of our lives in the future. So we have to self-love, intentionally self-love, intentionally celebrate you, intentionally embrace you, intentionally be nice to yourself, intentionally dress up yourself, intentionally celebrate you in every possible way. Celebrate you and genuinely do so. Do not pity you. You cannot self-love if you constantly pity you. You cannot self-love if you engage in self-pitying. If you keep having those self-pity parties, there's not going to be that level of growth where you would love to be with you. Now, if you don't enjoy being with you, it's going to be difficult, if not impossible, to genuinely allow someone else to love you or for you to receive love freely. That's because you have not learned to love deeply. So receiving love freely becomes a challenge, and we get to the point of self-sabotage, where the absence of self-love, the absence of self-acceptance cancels out the receiving of genuine love from someone who cares. And again, I don't want you to simply apply this to an intimate relationship. It can be a relationship with any friend, any significant person in your life. Whereas it bears great weight in an intimate setting, but it also impacts other relationships. Affirmation number 36 is: today I am able to learn to love deeply and to receive love freely. Thank you for stopping by on day 36. We do appreciate you coming by. If you do enjoy our content, tap the like button. If you have not subscribed, do so and help us grow this YouTube channel. See you on day 37.